What's up, guys? Jake, the MMA dad. Hey, I'm excited. I'm going to sit down, going to knock out some reactions tonight. And the first one we're going to be knocking out is one that's been requested quite a bit. And it's somebody we've done on the channel before. This is from Burden, and it's featuring Mesus. We've done both of them on the channel. They're both extremely talented artists. They're both independent. You guys know that's what I do reactions to, is independent artists. That's what got me started doing reactions, is, you know, seeing how the labels and, you know, all the big wig people out there trying to suppress like these independent artists who are really talented and really popular simply because they don't want to be a part of a major label or anything like that. So, you know, we started with Tom McDonald, we started with Ryan Upchurch, and that's led us more and more and more into more people. So that being said, guys, this is something that's been requested quite a bit. Again, this is Burden featuring Mesus, Riot for me. This is one you guys have wanted me to react to. I'm assuming because it just, from what I can tell from the thumbnail and everything like that, is that it is a politically charged song. And, you know, that's kind of, you know, what I expect right now from, you know, Burden and Mesus. They're trying to put out good messages. They're trying to put out songs that get people talking, get people having conversations, which is something that we need more of. So before we get into it, though, as always on this channel, big shout out to the Hangover Gang, big shout out to Creek Squad, the Nightwish Army, and as always, a big shout out and thank you to our active duty military, our veterans, and our first responders. We love you guys on this channel, and we're praying for you all the time. So throw my headphones on, and we're going to get into Mesus, well, Burden featuring Mesus, and this is Riot for me. Let's see what you guys got me reacting to. I'm sure I might get on a soapbox. We'll see what happens. And boom.
What if I was on my knees and executed by police? What if I was being choked and they knew that I couldn't breathe? If I was in the cop car, was killed in the back seat.
That beat hit me hard, so hang on. Let me go back just a little bit. Go back to what he was saying.
What if I was on my knees and executed by police? What if I was being choked and they knew that I couldn't breathe? If I was in the cop car, was killed in the back seat, with hands cuffed and locked behind me, y'all ain't losing any sleep. Ain't nobody about to ride for me, and that's a fact. Ain't no protest with signs for me, cause I ain't black. Ain't no hashtags online for me, or fighting back. Ain't nobody about to ride for me, bet y'all don't ride for me. Ain't it demonic?
So obviously, this is going to be one of those songs that gets people talking. And I was wondering if he was going to go that route. So just, you know, kind of foreshadowing with, you know, obviously he could have got anybody he wanted to play the police officers. And he specifically chose two black men to play the police officers. And he's a white guy handcuffed on his knees. So I was wondering, based on the symbolism, if we were going to get like a role reversal song. And it seems like that's what we're going to get, because he's saying if this were the situation, if it were two black police officers killing a white guy, are y'all going to riot for me? Are y'all going to protest for me? Are y'all going to even blink an eye for me, like, let alone any of that stuff? Is it going to make the news? Because, you know, more often than not, it doesn't make the news. And it's very interesting. You know, it's a very sensitive subject. It's a very touchy subject, you know, but racism works all ways. You know, that's just what racism is. And it's seemingly that it's okay to be racist as long as the victim of the racism is a white person. And that seems like to be the route that Burden's going is, you know, nobody's going to care about me getting killed because I don't have the right skin tone, which, again, that's what racism is. And it's sad that we're going that route because none of us should see race. You should be judging an individual by his character and the type of person he is, not what he looks like. But yeah, there's a very interesting dynamic going on. Then I heard him say something about demonic, so let's see what that's all about.
Bet y'all don't ride for me. Ain't it demonic how the news make a piece of shit look iconic? How ironic. If the ratings go up, so does the profits. You can change the station, but the reading from the same script. White man gunned down by police. Ain't nobody play that clip. No one gave a shit. I won't get no famous case. I won't get no downtown monument where they paint my face. I won't get no NFL jersey spot that say my name. Oh, that's right. Since I'm white, the situation ain't the same. Black lives matter. Asian lives matter. Spanish lives matter. Ain't allowed to say Caucasian lives matter. Why?
Okay, so, you know, more talking points, right? And I believe we've talked about it on this channel before. Like, real journalism is, like, seemingly gone, right? It's like, in the older days, it's like journalists were, well, I mean, they were investigative journalists, right? So I was about to say, in a way, a lot of journalists were like almost like private investigators. They would oftentimes put themselves in danger to get the story, and you know, they didn't care. You know, they didn't subscribe to like one political side. Like, everybody was free reign. If you were a story, you were a story. And you know, too often today, it's like, you know, the media is either pushing a narrative, or the media is just looking at what's going to get us the highest ratings, because at the end of the day, the higher the ratings, the more money they're making, like he was saying in the song. And it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to choose the right story as long, or even push the right narrative. Instead, they pick and choose to create their narrative to what they think is going to get clicks. Because let's face it, you know, with social media and everything else that's out there, the news has taken a hit, you know. So, you know, everything comes back to money, man. Everything comes back to money. And he's saying, you know, isn't it ironic and demonic, you know, that basically, you know, and I'm not going to sit here and say that anybody deserved to die or whatever. It's not my place. But since when do we start putting people up on a pedestal that have a history of violent crimes and things like that? That's what he's saying in here when he's saying, like, you know, we're worshiping people who don't need to be worshipped, you know. And he's flipping that scenario over to, you know, if I was shot, am I going to be on the back of an NFL jersey? Because we all know that the NFL has gotten very heavy into the political atmosphere and all this, that, and another. And that, and, you know, I don't get on here to debate politics or anything like that. I'm going off of what Burden's talking about in the song. But at the end of the day, you have to have this conversation, because if you if you really want to get rid of racism, you got to stop feeding into racism and turning around and hating white people because they're white people is racism. So then how are we going to get rid of racism if you're trying to fight racism with more racism? It just doesn't work that way. And I mean, yeah, I'm keeping some of this stuff to myself because, you know, YouTube goes crazy when you talk a certain way and stuff like that. So yeah.
That don't fit the narrative, that will mean equality. Truth in the mainstream media, that's mythology. Never using my people, your people, good people, poor people. Either we wake up or they gon' keep on using more people. I tried to warn people, supply them the truth. If the victim was me, y'all wouldn't ride. What if I was on my knees and executed by police? What if I was being choked and they knew that I couldn't breathe? If I was in the cop car, was killed in the back seat with hands cuffed and locked behind me, y'all ain't losing any sleep. Ain't nobody about to ride for me, and that's a fact. Ain't no protest with signs for me, cause I ain't black. Ain't no hashtags online for me, or fighting back. Ain't nobody about to ride for me, bet y'all don't ride for me.
This is so exhausting, way the news talking. It's like black folks, only ones dead in coffins. Black on black ain't a tragedy, huh? Guess news cameras ran out of batteries, huh? Live by the gun, die by...
I like that effect that they did where it's like, you know, he was further away from the microphone. So they were, and then he grabs it, you know, he comes in more clear. And, you know, Mesus, both Mesus and Burden always come with such great energy in their songs. And that's like one of the things I really appreciate about both of them is the delivery, the aggression, the passion that they have in what they're saying. But yeah, I mean, Mesus, comes in, breaking news, no one gives a and you know, he's talking about a point. It's been brought up quite a bit. I noticed that the ABC News is upside down, you know, more symbolism. I probably should have been watching a little more because I'm sure that they put even more symbolism in here that I didn't catch. But anyway, so Mesus comes in, he brings up a point that a lot of people have brought up, and it deserves a conversation, right? Why is it that we act like only one particular group of people is being killed, and, you know, take it a step further, why are the individuals not being held accounted? Like, if a police officer is in the wrong, that police officer needs to be held accountable. But if the other involved party is in the wrong, that person needs to be held accountable. At the end of the day, you're accountable for your own actions. So why isn't anybody talking about anything that leads up to any type of violent encounter with law enforcement? You know, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not naive and I'm not stupid to sit here and tell you guys that there aren't bad police officers out there, that there aren't people that shouldn't be wearing that badge, because there are people that shouldn't be wearing that badge. And that there's a whole nother conversation to be had about that. And I believe I've touched on it in the past before, but, you know, at the same time, if you're not complying, it's like, I mean, y'all know that I'm a police officer, so I don't know who you are. I've said this before in other videos. I don't know who you are. I don't know your background. I don't know why you're resisting arrest. I don't know any of that information. I don't know what's going on inside your head. So at the end of the day, you know, I hope and I pray all the time before I go out on every shift, I pray that I don't get hurt and that I don't have to hurt someone during my shift. Because that's not what I got in this job for. I got in this job to help people. I didn't get in this job to hurt people. And I don't want, thankfully, in my many years in law enforcement, knock on wood, I've never had to shoot anybody, and I hope I never do have to shoot anybody. I don't want that on my conscience. But at the end of the day, I have a family to go home to. And you're not going to pay my family's bills. Nobody's going to pay my family's bills. Nobody's going to take care of my kids if I'm gone. So that's what needs to be understood, is at the end of the day, we do a very dangerous job. And if you're resisting me, trying to fight me, whatever it is you're doing besides complying, I don't know why you're doing that. I don't know, did you just, murder somebody and I just so happen to pull you over or have an interaction with you and now you think you're caught? I don't know, do you, are you looking at, if you get in trouble again, you're going to be going away for a long time? I don't know any of that. All I know is I have somebody who is not complying with simple instructions, because I start all my calls down here. If the call goes up to here, it's 100% based on how that individual is acting, and I do my best to keep it down here. I do my best to work my verbal judo and not have to take it up any higher. So if it does get up here, why is it getting up there, and what's happening? There's millisecond decisions that have to be made. So I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent, and you guys know that these songs tend to do that to me, but it comes back around to being held accountable for your own actions. So if you're not complying, if you're fighting me, if you're reaching for my taser, if you're reaching for my gun, if you're reaching for, any type of weapon, and I have to act accordingly to make sure that I can go home to my family at the end of the day, why doesn't anybody talk about the actions that led up to that and how it could have been avoided? Because, the majority of people I deal with, if you're being respectful to me and you're cooperating with me and we're not having any issues, it tends to be the most lenient that I can be based on the circumstances, because I have a job to do. Most of the time, that's a verbal warning or a written warning, letting people walk away, unless it's something that, you messed up in a way that I now have to do something about it. So I'm not out there to ruin anybody's day. I'm not out there to do any of that. I'm out there to enforce the laws that I've taken an oath to enforce, and hopefully everything goes smooth. That's what I always hope for every single shift that I'm on. So everybody needs to be held accountable for their actions. The officers need to be held accountable for their actions, but people need to start talking about and holding people accountable for their actions, and that's one of the things that they're talking about in this song. I know that's a really long rant. I'm sorry.
And it's like black folks only ones dead in coffins. Black on black ain't a tragedy, huh? Guess news cameras ran out of batteries.
And that was the other thing I was going to talk on is, it's been said ad nauseum before, by a lot of different people. But why do we not care about all of the innocent black people who are being killed and murdered every day in the inner cities? And those are people that I care about, right? That's one of the things about working as a police officer. We're out there trying to, prevent, stop, or deter stuff like that from happening. But it seems like nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to cover that. It's only a news story if it's a white man killing a black, or a white person killing a black person. that's the only thing seemingly that the news wants to cover. And it's sad because there's so many things that, like, if you want to cover that, but also make sure that you're covering human trafficking, make sure that you're covering child pornography and child rapists, make sure that you're covering all the other violent crime that's going on as well. Like, if you're going to cover one thing that's wrong, you should be covering all the other things that are wrong too, and letting the American people really know what all is going on out there. And I've said it before on a different video that, you know, quit disrespecting me by only giving me one side of a situation, or only giving me one side of an argument, because to me that's you saying, I don't think you're smart enough to make a good decision, so I'm going to make it for you, instead of giving me the totality of all the evidence, of all the circumstances, of everything, and then letting me make an educated decision based on what I'm seeing. And that's something that's not going down right now.
Live by the gun, die by the gun. When it happens in the hood, y'all ain't saying none. But soon as that trigger finger white, y'all be tearing shit up on the same night. Say I ain't right, say I ain't white, let's say that I'm black. Get pulled over, try to run away and scrap, reaching for the strap, but he get it first, so I slug him in the face at the same time that it bursts. Now I'm just another reason to write a name on a shirt.
Okay, so that's what he was just talking about. He's saying, what if I was a black guy? And what if I was running from the cops? We got into a scuffle. I hit him in the face, and we're both reaching for the gun. He gets it first, and it goes off. You know, that's going to be a major story. But, you know, if the roles reversed, is it going to be a story? And also, what he's saying is, so again, it goes back to what led up to the tragedy happening. Because anytime somebody gets shot and killed, it's a tragedy. They have a family. They potentially have kids that they need to be taken care of. Like, you know, it's always a tragedy when a human being is killed. Whether their actions led to it or not, it's a tragedy both ways. But you do need to take into account why it happened in the first place.
When the truth is I just got what I deserve. When you playing dumb games and you win a dumb prize, less it's whites killing blacks, they don't give a fuck who dies. When you gonna realize they just trying to divide us? The red, white, and blue, it's the colors that unite us. I'm getting sick and tired of the looting and the riots. When the truth is if I was dead, then y'all be dead silent.
What if I was on my knees and executed by police? What if I was being choked and they knew that I couldn't breathe? If I was in the cop car, was killed in the back seat with hands cuffed and locked behind me, y'all ain't losing any sleep. Ain't nobody bout to ride for me, and that's a fact. Ain't no protest with signs for me, cause I ain't black. Ain't no hashtags online for me, or fighting back. Ain't nobody bout to ride for me, bet y'all don't ride for me.
That was really bad gun handling by that officer, but it's okay, I get it. Man, Burden, Mesus, you guys know I'm big fans of both of those guys. Writing ability, putting out songs to get people talking. Like I said, the passion, the aggression that they both rap with. Yeah, it's definitely, you know, a song to get people talking. Real quick, I mean, I know this video is getting long. I just want to give a big shout out to Stevie Knight. So you guys know, like I said, I only react to independent artists on this channel. I started by enjoying reaction channels myself, and I watched Stevie Knight's channel, and I got a lot of respect for Stevie because Stevie listened to Adam Calhoun's song "Racism," and you know he felt a certain way when he listened to it, which you know is, in my opinion, what I feel like Adam was wanting to do in the first place, is get people talking. And instead of being mad, being angry, whatever, and just kind of blocking it out and shutting it out, Stevie reached out to Adam, and they had a long conversation on Stevie's channel, like an interview type deal. And in my opinion, it was awesome for Stevie to do that. Showed a lot of character. And so, yeah, I just want to give Stevie a shout out, because that is exactly the kind of thing that, or the kinds of things that need to happen. We need to be able to sit down as human beings. We need to be able to check our emotions at the door. We need to be able to sit down and have adult conversations about what the facts really are, and go from there. And like I said, this is a long video, so I don't want to get into a big rant. But shouts out to Stevie Knight and Knight Nation out there. Stevie, a lot of respect for you, my friend. Yeah, guys, Burden featuring Mesus, Riot for me. It's turned into a long video because, again, I got on one of my rants, got on my soapbox. I apologize for that. I hope you guys like the new setup. I hope the audio sounds great. As always, guys, the link for the original video is down in the description for you guys to go over there, show Burden and Mesus some love. And, yeah, I'll see y'all in the next one.